In the dark world of outlaw motorcycle clubs, two big groups are gearing up for an epic showdown along the southern Massachusetts coast. On one side, you have the mighty Hells Angels, known for their ruthless power. On the other, the Pagans MC, ready to defend their peace. The burning question remains, who will claim the crown in this clash of titans? Join us as we unveil the untamed saga of Hells Angels versus Pagans. On Saturday, May 14, 2022, the streets became a battleground for a colossal street brawl. The Hells Angels, a robust motorcycle group, clashed with their rivals, the notorious Pagans. Picture a scene straight out of Sons of Anarchy. Over 40 bikers locked in a brutal showdown like a small skirmish in a much larger war for supremacy. This seemingly isolated incident was just the beginning, sparking a series of bloody retaliations and reprisals where neither side would back down. The aftermath? Casualties on both fronts, with death, carnage, and destruction marking the grim aftermath of this clash of titans. Shockingly, the echoes of this conflict persist even today. So, what sparked this clash between the Hells Angels and the Pagans? To understand, we need to rewind to the roots. The Pagans Motorcycle Club, born in 1959 in Prince George's County, Maryland, started as a tight brotherhood of 13. Fast forward to the late 70s, they became one of the largest outlaw motorcycle clubs nationwide, dominating the Northeast. Partnerships formed with groups like the Bloodstreet Gang, Philadelphia Mob, and Latin Kings, even connecting with Mexican drug cartels. In the 70s and 80s, the Pagans grew, ruling the Northeast's meth trade. However, by the early 2000s, police investigations hit hard, leading to over 70 Pagans, including the national president, sentenced on drug charges. Seizing an opportunity, the Hells Angels targeted the weakened Pagans. They made a bold move in Philadelphia, aiming to take over. Their plan included a daytime assassination plot against the Philly chapter president, Steve "Gorilla" Mandan. Despite being shot 9 times at close range, Mandan miraculously survived. The Angels then shifted focus to Thomas "Thinker" Wood, loyal second-in-command and acting president. Instead of guns blazing, the Angels extended an open hand, urging Wood to forsake his pagan allegiance and join them, a direct violation of the Brotherhood oath. In 2002, Wood agreed, breaking the Forever Pagans pledge, and joined the Angels' West Philadelphia chapter. Now, the Pagans couldn't let the disrespect slide. Even in their weakened state, the Pagans knew they had to respond. On Saturday, February 23, 2002, they chose the most public stage possible, the Hellraiser Ball, organized by the Long Island chapter of the Hells Angels in PL View, New York. The Vanderbilt Hall hosted this motorcyclist convention with attractions like motorcycle exhibitions, a tattoo contest, live band performances, and appearances by Chuck Zito and founding member Sonny Barger. It was meant to be an elegant affair, with a red carpet for distinguished guests. Little did anyone know, just after 4 p.m., 10 vans rolled up, carrying over 70 Pagans armed with guns, knives, bats, hammers, and axes. Earlier, tuxedo-wearing angels walked down the red carpet. Now, chaos erupted as the Pagans stormed the conference hall, smashing exhibits, breaking windows, and engaging in a massive brawl with the Angels. The fighting lasted only minutes before an Angel, Raymond DWI, opened fire, injuring 5 Pagans and killing 1. Gunshots triggered a stampede as bikers on both sides tried to flee. Outside, police arrested 73 bikers, with 66 later found guilty on federal racketeering charges. This brazen assault signaled that the battle for supremacy had just begun. Soon after, the Pagans struck again. This time, they targeted their former brother, Thomas "Thinker" Wood, now the acting president of the Philly chapter of the Hells Angels. While driving on the I-76 expressway, Wood was shot dead by unseen perpetrators. Officially unsolved, law enforcement assumes the Pagans were responsible, solidifying the ongoing clash between these two motorcycle titans. Fast forward, the Pagans shifted gears. To match the larger Hells Angels, they focused on recruiting, aiming for equality in numbers. The once whites-only Pagans relaxed their racial criteria, bringing in Hispanic street gang members. Over the next 2 decades, their membership exploded. At one point, they even toyed with the idea of expanding into the Hells Angels stronghold in Quebec, considering a second front in their ongoing war. However, they nixed the plan due to Canada's dark biker reputation. Andrew Glick, a former Pagan president turned informant, spilled the beans, saying, "In Canada, that's where the toughest one-percenters are. Being a one-percenter in Canada is a little more dangerous than in the US." With northern expansion off the table, the Pagans refocused in the US. In 2015, Keith Conan the Barbarian ROR became the new national president. ROR, previously the club's national sergeant-at-arms, had just finished a 14-year prison stint for conspiracy to commit murder. Back on the streets, ROR aimed to solidify the Northeast as Pagans' territory. Enter the Blue Wave Initiative, a massive recruiting campaign with the goal of conquering the entire northeastern United States. The strategy worked, and by 2017, law enforcement estimated that the Pagans had opened over 30 new chapters across the eastern United States in that year alone. ROR understood that the Hells Angels wouldn't just step aside, and soon enough, the Cold War between these two motorcycle titans would heat up again. Tensions were boiling over, with Angels and Pagans getting into scraps whenever they crossed paths. One heated incident went down on April 24, 2018, when Hells Angel associate Jeffrey Shank left the gang's Newark clubhouse. At a nearby gas station, security cameras captured the moment a red Ford pickup truck pulled up behind Shank. Oblivious to the danger, 3 men armed with baseball bats silently crept out of the truck, launching a surprise attack. They hit Shank hard in the back of the head as he filled up his motorcycle. Shank fell, and the assault continued, leaving him with fractured ribs and a collapsed lung. But the Angels wouldn't back down. To prove it, they opened a new clubhouse in the Bronx, an area long dominated by the Pagans. Just weeks after the Angels moved in, security cameras caught a large group of masked men on motorcycles opening fire on the clubhouse with automatic rifles. The building took a hit, but miraculously, no one inside was hurt. The Angels knew the Pagans were behind it, and in response, they planned a well-thought-out strike with military-like precision. In May 2020, the Pagans faced a chilling turn of events. Francisco Rosado, the president of the Pagans Bronx chapter, was outside the Bronx apartment building where he worked as the superintendent. Out of nowhere, 2 masked men emerged from a parked Jeep Grand Cherokee armed with silenced pistols. They opened fire, hitting Rosado in the head and chest, killing him instantly. This public assassination marked a shift in strategy for the Angels. In response to the Pagans' wholesale invasion of their northeastern territory, the Angels' leadership issued a nationwide green light order. This meant the Pagans were now fair game for immediate attack, essentially a declaration of war. The Angels weren't willing to surrender their turf without a fight. And bloodshed wasn't confined to just New York. In nearby Massachusetts, the Pagans were making moves. By April 2022, they set up shop in Fall River, historically a Hells Angels stronghold. Recent times saw the Angels abandoning the area, giving the Pagans an opening. But the Angels noticed the intrusion and quickly reclaimed their territory, signaling their presence with a massive show of force. On the morning of May 14th, over 100 Hells Angels descended upon the Pagans' clubhouse in Fall River. Initially planning to ride by, a group of about 40 Angels broke off with more aggressive intentions. 15 members, armed with walkie-talkies, blocked roads and served as lookouts, while 25 armed Angels assaulted the clubhouse. Despite the outnumbered Pagans valiantly standing their ground, they were overwhelmed in a fight lasting only minutes. The Angels returned to their Cape Cod stronghold, leaving a gruesome scene behind. Police arrived to find severely injured bikers amidst the blood-soaked ground. In response, Fall River closed the Pagans' clubhouse, and 2 months later, the FBI raided Hells Angels properties across the state. The crackdown seems to have worked, at least for now, as there have been no major clashes since. However, authorities warn that it's only a matter of time before hostilities between these warring rivals resume. So, what's your take on the intense clash between the Hells Angels and the Pagans? Which part of their tumultuous history struck a chord with you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you crave more adrenaline-fueled sagas, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.